I am Fletcher Kade. This is Hot Take with Fletcher Kade, and
I'm Shay Dominguez.
Sweet. Okay, I am a comic. You are
Comic/rapper.
Sweet. Okay, so that's the best introduction that I can do today. I don't really have any anecdotes, but you know what? Catch me next week. Maybe I'll pre-write something and act like I thought of it right off the top of my head.
I'm trying to share this. I'm not.
Watch us live.
Never mind.
Okay, so today we are reviewing 100% Fresh with Adam Sandler. Let's see. I will say a quick few notes, and then we'll let Shay get into her 5. So basically, like, I don't know. Overall, I like the special. I think it was a good time, but it felt kind of long. And I know a lot of people were saying that they actually, they were like, oh my God, I haven't seen Adam Sandler do anything like this in a while. Like, I wish it was longer. And I did not feel like that. But, and it wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. It was just that, like, I was like, dude, like, I shouldn't be watching this in 5 sittings. Like, especially when I had the time to watch it. Like, I wasn't doing anything else. It was just like, oh, wow, like, okay, I've been at this for 45 minutes. Let me go away, come back.
It's hard to sit down for over an hour to watch something if you're not in the movies. For me.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I can't. Unless it's just like binging on one Netflix show.
No, yeah, absolutely. And then that can kind of capture me because it's a narrative, and then you're not just looking at one dude.
Yeah.
But okay, let me give you your time and go. Let's hear all your thoughts. No interruptions.
Okay. I mean, how detailed that there's like all spoilers in here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I really liked the beginning. So we talked about the vignette. It kind of goes in like, oh, he performs at this place, and then it goes to another place. Then it eventually, about 10 minutes in, goes into the big arena that he's in, whatever you call it. And that, I felt like that was very powerful because it just showed like all of this work that he has done to get into the big arena, but then it just kept doing that. I thought that was gonna be like that's the freaking thing, and that's it, and then you just watch the big show from there, but it kept on going back to the old shows. And I think as I have 5 minutes, is that right? I think as a piece of art, like as the full thing, it's great. But broken down like that, I'm not a huge fan of the special, but I did appreciate it in the fact that it's celebrating Adam Sandler. He's going back to his roots of music. He does like 85-90% music, I feel. Yeah. Which was very interesting because we were trying to figure out, you were trying to figure out which special we were going to watch. And I'm so glad that it was this one because I went from improv and now I'm doing music. So I thought it was like very relevant for me. I'm not a big fan of his music. It's I like his high voices, his high songs. I think those are funny. Mostly, too, because you can understand them. I had a hard time understanding the music when he was talking so low. It was just hard. So not a super huge fan. And Adam Sandler, I'm not really familiar with his. I know, Waterboy, Billy Madison, Grown Ups,
the classics.
Yeah. But like I'd never really watched him on SNL, and I think that's where a lot of his music was, right? Or was it all over the place? I really don't know. Sorry, I guess no interruptions. But yeah, again, the beginning, he goes from messing up a song to like 2 or 3 times, and then it goes into him singing in the big arena. And so again, I thought that was like super cool. But then he kept on just going back to his old, to the old places where he performed. There was some animation in there.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. It was just like for about 10 seconds, 2 times. One of them talking about cauliflower ear, which it's just like, oh, that it's not pretty. And then they showed it on the screen. It's like, okay. Oh, he goes to the train station and he sings with the keyboardist there. At that moment, it felt like a documentary when he went to the train station. But it showed that he just wants to entertain people and have a good time. And no matter where it is, I mean, there was a clip where people started dancing to the music and they had a big group around him and everything. And I thought that was just cool. Like, he was just standing there and people were dancing, and it makes him seem very humble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the whole special was just him showing that, hey, I'm out here, I'm doing well. This is what I care about. I care about my friends, Chris Farley. I care about music, and I care about my family.
Yeah.
He sings to his wife at the very end. And I thought that was special.
All right, you're coming right up on 5. Perfect. Okay, so let me start the clock for me. I had some similar things to say. So I'm going to go totally out of order here, but like, okay, so the Chris Farley kind of tribute was at the end. And I appreciate, like, when it started, I was like, okay, what are you doing? But by the time it ended, I was like, okay, this is really sweet and a nice way to kind of start closing out a show. But at the same time, there was really not too much funny about that song. Like, that was truly just like kind of heartfelt and put a pause to the comedy. So I don't know if that's good or bad. It certainly didn't help any jokes hit after that, because it was, you know, you're almost done with it, and then he does another heartfelt song afterward. So it's kind of like, okay, I mean, that's certainly a way to save yourself from having to end on a big joke. But and it's a nice way to wrap up a special in a nice, sweet way. But from a comedy perspective, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, this is sad now. And like with the like vignettes and stuff, like that was crazy. Like on top of just cutting from, you know, just every joke. Anytime he hit a punchline, he would cut to a new stage. And it's like, dude, like, can you stay still for a second? And then with that on top of like the like sketch type vignettes, it's like, okay, you're doing a lot here. Because yeah, like what you were saying with the train station, what I noticed is because like we were talking about before we started, is Adam Sandler a lot of times in his old stuff, but I even noticed it now, you can see that he is uncomfortable. Like, he is so uncomfortable being on stage. And just because he, you know, he knows how to kind of, I guess, sculpt jokes and do his own thing so he can pull it off. But, like, just from, like, a really standard comedy and just, like, Hollywood kind of point of view, if I was some big-time whoever the hell, and I had Adam Sandler's jokes and was like, oh, I love those jokes, but I don't think I'm going to let him perform them. Like, I might have somebody else do his jokes for him just because he's so on edge theming.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, I mean, I would only do that if there's, like, I had a bunch of money and I need to make something work. But I would never want to take that away from somebody like that, because I think everybody's material, if you wrote it, it's going to work best for you.
For sure.
But, yeah, it's definitely very noticeable that he's not comfortable on stage, especially, and what really made that stand out for me is that part when he is in the train station, because when he's in the train station, he has, like, what, a hat and glasses on, like,
hood.
Yeah, hood, like, trying not to look like Adam Sandler, and he's got his pianist behind him. And when people cannot recognize him is the most loose and comfortable he is the entire hour and a half.
For sure.
Like, it's the most, like, yeah, he was just, like, he's not as up to, like, can see he's moving looser. His voice sounds different. Like, he walks with a little pep in his step just because people don't know who he is. And I was like, okay, like, there's something there. Like, you can definitely see that he could be a different comic, but there's something there kind of holding him back, and it might just be him being so famous for so long. Because I could totally see that. Like, because when you're that famous, like, a lot of really, really famous comics can't even really go to open mics anymore. Because even if they wanted to, they show up, and even comics love them so much that no matter what they say, they're going to die laughing just because somebody that they love is in the room.
Right.
And you can never know if you're actually funny. Once you hit that point anyway. With the animation, yeah, like, you got to warn me about that because... Yeah, because I already didn't know I was tuning into a musical comedy special. So for it to be like, okay, musical comedy plus animation, it's like, all right. But I understand.
It didn't even fit. Like, it wasn't even... I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It wasn't even the full screen. It was just, like, little clips.
No, yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, if you want to do an animation, do an animation. But, like, there's so many comics that are trying to, like, make their specials more interesting by adding all of this stuff. And they don't realize that most people really just want the basic stand-up. Like, they want... Because the interesting comes from literally you having good jokes. Like, I don't need stuff on the screen. If you want to do something like that, do a separate project. And people will enjoy that, but when it comes to stand-up, people want to see stand-up. And let's see, what else do I have? I think his jokes are very long-winded. Sometimes, like, yeah, he takes a very, very long time to get to the point. Like, there's so many jokes that are a 2-minute song that could have been one-liners. And I just don't understand why it was necessary to add that much time. But that's also just how some people's styles are, and I understand that. And I don't necessarily hate his jokes, but it happened so many times that I was almost editing them in my head. Like, okay, you can take this whole paragraph out and, set up punchline joke. But that is my 5. So, what are your thoughts?
Him being uncomfortable. I feel like some people are like, that's just something he has to overcome. But I mean, I think he is overcoming it every second he's on stage, and that is his style. Yeah. A nervous stand-up. I mean, do you feel like that's a style?
I don't think it's necessarily a style, but I think that once you get comfortable enough doing comedy, you kind of fall into yourself. So even if you're nervous, you're almost like the entertainer version of nervous. Whereas Adam Sandler kind of like legit seems nervous to me.
Yeah. I get that.
But but he's still able to do what he's doing. So there's something to be said about that, because like, if I can tell that he's nervous like that, and he's Adam Sandler and he's been doing this for so long, that could genuinely mean that he suffered from like horrible cannot leave the house kind of panic attacks. To have been doing comedy that long and like you're still like visibly kind of shaking on stage. Yeah. That I could understand if like he really, really went through it. Because there are comics like that. Like, I've heard a lot of times from comics that they were like, every time I got on stage, I felt like I was going to piss myself. And as soon as I got a writing job, I quit comedy. Like, that is a story heard a lot.
Wow. People must love stand-up. I mean, obviously, but like, to think that you're going to piss yourself.
No, yeah, people get really, really nervous. Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like, I forget what the statistics are, but people say like they are genuinely less afraid of death than speaking in public.
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, that is true. And full disclosure, I've never done stand-up. Yeah. So, I mean, this is from...
But you've performed in front of people.
Yeah, performed, definitely. I think with the train station of him having the hood on and everything, I feel like celebrities want to create art, but with no name behind it. Sometimes. So, if you're going out in public and people are going to, if he doesn't have a disguise on, people are going to surround him just because he is Adam Sandler. Yeah. Whereas if he has all of that stuff on, people are like, oh, I enjoy what this random guy is making. And I think that's really fun.
No, yeah. I think on the other hand, too, it can kind of be, you're like, okay, well, I'm not funny. Like, okay, like these people have no interest in me unless they can see my face.
Right.
Which that can suck, but I think as a comic who wants to continue getting better, like, you kind of need that. But like you were saying, as, like, this special didn't even, like, it was really just like, hey, I know people like me. Here's some stuff for people that like me. Come show up if you love me. Like, that's really what it was, and him just, like, giving the audience what they want. And just big Adam Sandler fest. And, yeah, I don't really think he was trying to do anything more than that, because he really has everything that he needs. Like, all of his movies, and then, you know, people forget that he's the reason Hanukkah songs exist. Like, he's a billionaire because he went after the holiday music market when there were no Jewish holiday songs.
Really?
Yeah, and
are they all comedy songs from him?
No, not necessarily. A lot of them are, but some of them are just like straight up, you know, Hanukkah songs. And yeah, and he is the only one that tapped that market at the time. So he, you know, blew up, and he has so much money that he never has to do anything again. But with that in mind, I was like, oh, okay, I get that he did like a musical comedy kind of thing, because it's always been a part of what he's done. Yeah. But because I've seen Adam Sandler movies, but I did not know that he was so big on music that this was going to be like seriously 90% music.
I was talking with a friend about this special, and he said, you know, it's fine. Do that special whatever you want, but don't market it as a comedy special. Yeah. You know, I mean, I agree. It's also comedy. The end of it was not comedy. I cried. Did you cry?
I didn't cry, but it got sad. Like, I was like, so yeah, had I watched it all at once, I maybe would have cried.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I could not get through it.
That was another thing. I made myself sit down and watch it, and I'm just like, I mean, I checked a couple times. How much time is left? Wow. It's an hour. Is it hour 20? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. But the very end, yeah, it was.
No, it was really heartfelt. But it was also just like, because the Chris Farley thing I thought was sweet, but I was also like, Chris Farley's been dead for decades.
I know. I know. And I'm like, it's very nice that you want to do this for your friend. And I think he did that for himself.
He absolutely did that for himself. I think he genuinely did that because he was like, I wished that I was on stage when he died so I could have done this then. But I wasn't, so I'm doing it now. Yeah. But even then, it's like, dude, that was like, it was so long ago. And not to say like people don't matter when time has passed, but it's like, you're really bringing up, like, because at the comic, just on being topical, like, you want to at least be in the last couple of years.
Yeah, you know, he's talking about, oh, I, you know, did all these things with him, or I miss him, or I feel this way about him, and it's like, yes, we all knew that already. Oh, yeah. It's just kind of putting it into song.
No, yeah, and it was like, because I think that's a great song, a great piece. You should be able to do that whenever you want, whenever you're feeling that way about somebody. But to put it in your comedy special is ridiculous. Like, so ridiculous. Like, what are you... Like, it's literally like a make-you-cry song in the middle of, like, grandma jokes. And it's like...
Yeah, I don't like being made to cry.
No, yeah, and then it's like... This thing is already an hour and 20 minutes. So, like, what, are you trying to fill time? Like, you can cut this song. Right. Even if he performed it, like, edit it out. Like, nobody needed that in your comedy special. Yeah, and that's, like, yeah, and saying all that, like, there are jokes that I really like, and I think he's a smart writer. But, yeah, again, some of them are long-winded. But also, at the same time, I could see, like, the way people, like, when they cut to the audience... You can tell, like, those are hardcore, I love Adam Sandler fans. Like, they have so much, like, love in their eyes when they look up at him, and they are so fucking happy to be there. And that is one thing that you will not see with a lot of Netflix specials. Because a lot of the times when somebody gets their first special, they're kind of a no-name. Like, all the comics and stuff know them, but they can't fill a theater. Yeah. You know, so the production company makes that happen.
You have discounted tickets or go for free or whatever.
No, and they fill that room up for them with a bunch of people that don't know them. And then as a comic, you're like, okay, I hope I've been strong enough up until this point to really just turn this crowd around.
Yeah. I felt there were some looks from the audience of like some of the stuff that Adam Sandler was doing. It's like,
and I forget, like, there was definitely, they cut to one lady at one point where she had, like, this horrified expression on her face as soon as he started singing, and she was like, is this what this is going to be?
Yep.
And, like, to the point where I couldn't believe that they kept that cut in, because she was just, like, so, like, no, please stop it.
And I think that was part of the theme of, like, not caring what other people thought, and I'm just going to do what I enjoy. Which is awesome.
But I could also say, like, as a comic, like, if that happened in my special, I would think that shit was hilarious. Like, I would love cuts of people just like, who the fuck are you?
Well, they have to sit there. It's funny. It's like, well, like, I'm gonna do whatever, you have to sit there. Like,
but that's also, like, my favorite, like, when I know, like, I walk in and I know somebody already doesn't like me. And then I can kind of turn it around. Because, like, my favorite moment in comedy ever is I had, like, this suicide joke that I had been trying to work out forever. And it really just started as me getting up on stage and complaining about my past. And there was this guy who was a regular at that bar who wasn't a comic that anytime I tried this joke out, he just happened to be there. And he would just, like, groan so fucking loud every time I started the joke and be like, oh, this again. You're so sad and depressing. And, this happened, like, 5 times. And then, like, a month later, I came back in. I had really, like, worked it out and wrote some shit down. Came back on stage, started the joke, and he was like, oh, fuck you. And he sees me, takes a big sip of his drink, and I'm about to walk out the door. And I finish, like, the new stuff that I wrote, and I fucking kill. And he turned around and started laughing and sat back down. And I was like, okay, yes, I feel like a comedian. But so that's why I can understand, like, keeping that stuff in. Because especially if you can go from that woman being horrified to cutting back 5 minutes later at the end of that joke and she's dying laughing. That's what you want as a comic.
Yeah. There was a few jokes that he did. I'm just not huge on gross sexual jokes.
Yeah.
Like, he talked a lot about anal with his wife.
Oh, yeah.
But then, so that was, I felt, a very long-winded joke. And then at the very end, he talked about her sticking her fist up his butthole.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really funny. I thought that was just a twist that I wasn't expecting. And so, like, that is funny, but the 5 minutes that led up to it,
you're just
like, because this is gonna be another dick joke. I don't. That's not my style, I feel.
Yeah, like, a lot of his 5-minute bits should be one-liners. But yeah, it's funny because I noticed when he does do, like, graphic sexual material, he's even more uncomfortable. Like, it's like he's not okay saying his jokes, and then even, like, he'll do, like, a bit of, like, kind of almost evilish kind of satire and say something horrible about, like, his grandma or something. It's
pretty dark.
Yeah, and then he'll be like, no, I'm just kidding, you guys. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, are you still at that point where, like, you need to say just kidding in your comedy special?
There was a point where he was telling a great story, and then he made it, like, not true. Like, it sounded like it was a true story with him and the guy on the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then he was, at the end, it just, like, got too high. I felt like a lot of his jokes were improv scenes in the fact that it starts off kind of normal, and then there's this weird person who's him, and he builds it up. And then at the end, he just undercuts it and, like, goes, I don't know, just goes too far to where it's like, I kind of thought that was kind of a serious story, but now it's just... It just made it up?
No, yeah. And it would have been funnier if he led people to believe that it was real. Because at the end of the show and you're out of the drama of the comedy special, you're going to, you're most likely going to be like, oh, yeah, like, that didn't happen. Like,
Right.
But you kind of have to get people while they're in there with you to suspend their disbelief for the sake of the joke. Because people aren't stupid. They're going to know that, you know, you and this guy probably didn't meet. But if you, in the middle of the joke, are just like, hey, you guys, this is a joke. This didn't really happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it ruined it. It honestly ruined it. And that was a great story.
No, yeah, and as somebody for somebody who's like decades into the game, he should absolutely know that. But on the other hand, he hasn't been doing comedy like that.
Right.
So I can understand how you can get back there, but even when you go back to his older stuff, that was always kind of his style, and he never got out of that. And he was never able to grow beyond that before he just hit super fame.
I mean, yeah, maybe that is his thing, and he just got to being famous. I mean, through that, people enjoyed that specific thing.
No, yeah. That dude who was like his pianist is kind of familiar, but I should have looked him up. But that guy, like, good for him. Like, that's a nice little gig for him. I'm sure every big comic and like just little independent production is gonna pull him on.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, just as on like his stage presence, he's always animated, or, you know, when he needs to be. And yeah,
I honestly, yeah, he was like, yeah, I think he was great. And like, yeah, if I was doing some type of musical comedy, I would absolutely want to hire that guy, just because, like, even if it absolutely looks like he is a huge fan of Adam Sandler's, but like, for all we know, he hates every joke Adam Sandler does. Right. But the fact that he can sit there and look interested and like, oh my God, like, I can't wait to hear the next thing in every shot. Like, that is so beautiful and adds so much and gives so much to Adam Sandler, because at the end of the day, like, that guy has, like, it's musical comedy. These people have been rehearsing for months. Like, you know, so like, he knows every joke by heart. So to be able to still sit there excited, like, oh, Adam, you're so great. You're so funny.
He's heard that joke so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like, okay, you're a rock star, dude. Like, I would absolutely hire you to do anything that I wanted. Like, that is a grade A performer right there.
Yeah, and to memorize music, that's hard.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know specifically with stand-up, but I mean, I've told stories, you know, and you can kind of veer off. You can kind of improvise. Yeah. But with music, you can improvise a little, but still, you got to be on point.
No, yeah, and you don't want to mess up your rhythm or anything.
Yeah.
I think, let's see, I have one last, like, I guess, main comment, and it was that I kind of liked his jacket, but it looked dirty. It looked like he had been wearing it for the last 10 years.
He was wearing many jackets. Which one was this?
Oh, yeah, because it keeps cutting.
So
like, there's this, like, I guess when he's in one of the main theaters.
There was a champion jacket.
It might have been, it's like a green, like this dull green jacket, and then he's wearing almost like work jeans.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, you look like Adam Sandler, but like, I don't know. It's almost like how they say billionaires dress. Just like, oh yeah, the billionaire's probably that guy in a fucking hoodie.
Yeah, I mean, should he dress up?
No, I don't think he should necessarily dress up, but I don't think, like, some of the outfits where he was on stage, it was like, oh no, you belong in the subway where you were, like, the first couple of times.
They wore baggy jeans. Like, he looked like a stylish dad. I mean, his style was very basic, so I liked it. But
yeah, I don't think basic is bad. I just I don't know what it is with comics, because like the last special I reviewed, Mo Amer, Mo looked good. Like his outfit was on point. He just had too many layers on and was sweaty. But Adam Sandler like just looks like he woke up.
Yeah, I agree, and just threw something on.
Yeah, which is like, if you're, I don't know, like, if that's how you want to do it, that's how you can do it, but at least make sure your clothes are clean, you know, like iron them before you get on stage, you know, like you're doing a special, and when you're on TV, and especially in the age of super HD, like, we can see that your clothes have been worn for days at a time, or that you're not taking the best care of it, or that it's years old, because that's something that kind of sucks about TV, is that if something is older, like, and you wear it all the time, it just looks a little dingy on camera. Like, it just looks a little off compared to other things.
Yeah.
And it's not going to pop. And it makes you look dirty. It's not that you are dirty, but that's just how camera and TV works.
Did you think he looked dirty?
I think for the one outfit that I'm talking about, that really I didn't like, and I thought he looked dirty. But other than that, I didn't really notice it.
No. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so.
But yeah, so what would you give this, what would you rate this out of 10 stars?
Out of 10 stars for a comedy special.
For a comedy special. Or, okay, you know what, since this is coming up so much lately, I guess we'll do 2 ratings.
Okay.
What is your 10-star rating for a comedy special? And then what is your 10-star rating as just a piece of art?
I would say the stand-up's about a 6. And the art, 8.5.
Okay, that's reasonable. That's super good. Yeah, just on a piece of art, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. It really was just him dedicating something to himself and his wife, really. And for that, I liked it. But yeah, I guess, it was almost like his own Lifetime Achievement Award. And for that, I'll give him an 8. He pulled off a good lifetime achievement, like the culmination of his career kind of thing. But yeah, for a comedy special, let's see. I'll give him a 7.5. I'll give it a little more than you. I liked it, but yeah, I couldn't really sit through it. I had to watch it multiple times.
Right.
But I mean, that's what happens when you do a fucking hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. So long. I would say for the piece of art, I don't know, like, if I were to do something like that, hopefully it wouldn't be from selfish reasons to, like, here was my life, I am amazing, but just to basically use yourself and use your art to inspire others, because I was kind of inspired by it. Like, it made me feel kind of uncomfortable that he was uncomfortable, but I think that's my problem.
I felt like that.
But I was also just, I was so impressed that he was still doing it. Yeah. That he was, as nervous as he was still performing the stuff he wanted to perform, and I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, the only reason that I won't kind of, like, discount him for doing, like, his own, like, here's me celebrating myself kind of thing is only because nobody else was going to do that for Adam Sandler. Like, he really is the most made fun of guy for all of his work. And it's kind of messed up because, like, no matter what you think of Adam Sandler movies, any celebrity who's probably, like, making fun of Adam Sandler and his body of work has done a lot less work. And then even if they have more movies under their belt than Adam Sandler, they just starred in those movies. Adam Sandler, like, produced them under his own company and writes them. Like, he has the whole thing going. So, yeah, I mean, they're not always the best, but he has... it's almost like he was the white Tyler Perry before Tyler Perry. Like, he had a production company. Like, he just did it. He got his group of friends, and he was like, we're doing this, like, movie after movie. Yeah. And he put them on. Like, Rob Schneider would be nothing without Adam Sandler.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Rob Schneider coming down as an astronaut.
Oh, yeah, and then all that, he just has all of these, like, random appearances from that's the stuff I hate. Like, maybe if you do a quick shot to somebody in the audience, you're like, oh, my friend who happens to be LeBron James is in the audience. Yeah. Like, okay, whatever. But don't bring LeBron James on stage and do a bit. Like,
it didn't make the show better.
No.
I just don't know what value it brought, other than he's doing what he wants. He's doing what he wants, and he's bringing his friends with him.
It was literally for people to be like, "Ooh, Rob Schneider, that dude from The Hot Chick." Yeah. Like,
and they were talking about sucking each other's dicks. Which I don't know. Gay jokes to me aren't funny about guys sucking each other's dicks, but it's like
there also wasn't really a punchline. That's just like, it was like you were like. They had all the props and stuff behind them, but it was kind of like you're taking a break to listen to two friends. Like, hey, man, like, what's up? Oh, we're sucking each other's dick. And you're like, oh, okay, is this a commercial break?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, I guess for a piece of art, I would give it... Actually, yeah, shit, let's see. No, yeah, 7.5 for comedy, but honestly, for art, I think I'm going to go with a 6.
Oh, lower.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was going to do it the other way around, but now that I remember the cameos, I'm just like, no, it wasn't good art.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't a fan of the specifics, like, of kind of each segment, but the thing as a whole, the very end where they showed that whole montage of him in SNL and everything.
That's absolutely inspiring.
So yeah, the little bits, not a fan. The whole thing.
No, once I saw the end, it made everything worth it. But honestly, before I got to the end, I was like, oh, okay, like, when are we getting over with this? And that's even with, like, really, really good on-point jokes happening that I laughed at.
Right.
And I was still just like, okay, where are we going, Adam? Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that's life. Right? It's like, okay, and then at the end, you're like, wow. This is why all of this happened.
No, yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's our rating. Overall, did you like it? Would you recommend it? And who would you recommend it to?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Who would I recommend it to? I would recommend it to people who like a good story, who want to be inspired. I think it's similar to a Hannah Gadsby type of thing.
I don't think that at all.
As in, it is more inspiration. It has the inspiration in it, in addition to comedy. Hannah Gadsby's was amazing.
I think hers is amazing, but I don't think Adam Sandler's is anything like Hannah Gadsby's.
The fact that it's not strictly a comedy special, which I think there was like something about Hannah Gadsby, right? That people were saying it's not a comedy special, but it.
She's still stuck to her guns on stand-up, though. You know, like, it wasn't suddenly, like, a cartoon in the middle about her situation.
Right. No, definitely. I think without it being an hour-long just stand-up comedy special, that's how I would relate the two.
Yeah.
But, yeah, people who want to be inspired and like art and... Yeah, if you don't know about Adam Sandler, watch it.
No, yeah. I would recommend... this special to anybody who is looking to not think, you know, like, and not even in like a bad way, but in a, like, you know, when you just are like, you're like, I don't want to hear about my friends' lives. I don't want to hear about anybody's problems. I don't want to hear about the fires. I don't want to hear about politics. I just need something. You know, I would be like, yeah, turn on Adam Sandler. He's not gonna. It's grandma jokes.
That is
and
true. He
dick
didn't
sucking.
talk. He didn't talk politics.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So if you want to just get away from everything, I would totally be like, yeah, Adam Sandler, 100% fresh. That'll just give you an hour and 20 minutes of just bipartisan funny, and with a nice, cute, you know, heartfelt ending that would really inspire you if you are in entertainment or even just doing anything in life that you want to succeed at. But yeah, I mean, this is not the special for somebody who is looking for the smartest of smart specials with the best political humor in the world. You're definitely not going to get that with this. Yeah. But I would still say, yeah, if you've ever seen an Adam Sandler movie, it's still worth watching for that to see, like, oh, like, here's who that guy is. Right. Because you don't necessarily get all of that with his movies.
Not at all.
Yeah, and yeah, if you've never seen old Adam Sandler clips, like, you would not know that this is the kind of comedy that he does. And I think that's just really nice to see, especially as a comic. I think it's important to watch people that have come from so far. But I guess just my last comments. I think it's really funny, just kind of the thoughts that we had on this, because every other person that I've talked to about like Adam Sandler, or especially just like comics that I know, are fucking in love with this special. Like, wish it was longer. Yeah, like most people I've talked to thought this was like one of the best things to come out this year.
What? Why? Why are they that in love with it?
I have no idea. I think it might be, you know, that famous effect where you're just like, I grew up watching Adam Sandler movies, and now he's put something out for the first time in however long.
Yeah.
But I also, like, it was funny, but it is, but he also does have, like, a particular sense of humor. And I can understand how not everybody could get into that. But I do think his stand-up comedy is more so, I don't know, what's the word? I think his stand-up comedy is easier to digest for most audiences as opposed to his movies. His movies are very much like, you know, porta potty getting kicked over, someone's covered in shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which is funny.
Yeah, and it's funny stuff, but if you don't like that,
No,
I think
right.
you can still laugh
Right.
at the special. But also just like sometimes you don't want to see somebody covered in shit, you know, like
No, right. I think with the music, people were like jamming to it.
No,
and I wouldn't do that. I want to watch like I'm at a show. Like I'm at a comedy show. I'm not there for a concert.
No, that is one of my main things with like musical comedy is like, even though you're doing music, I'm here for the jokes.
Right.
And like, I don't even need you to be an amazing singer.
Yeah.
Like there's this one guy, like I think J.R. Guzman or something. Like he has a really nice voice and he's a musical comic. But the thing that I think about him that works is he never does a full song really. His songs are always about getting to the joke. Like as soon as he hits that punchline, that song is over.
Yeah.
He's not going to keep doing it for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's becoming more successful. But with Adam Sandler doing like a full 5-minute song, like sometimes it can get old.
Yeah. And it did.
No, absolutely. But those are our thoughts. I'm glad you guys tuned in. I hope you had a good time listening to us bitch about one of the most beloved comics. Yeah, let me know what you think. Go watch the special. I think you'll like it. And next week, I think I'm going to try and switch it up and not do a straight up comedy special and try to do something narrative. I have something in mind, but I don't want to say it because I probably won't end up doing that. But thank you for tuning in. This was Hot Take with Fletcher Kade and Shay.
Yeah.
See you next time.